It's at least 52 times a year, at least. That's it.
All right, well, that's good.
Big fan of Batman Begins. What else can we talk about to delay time until Giuseppe gets here?
You know what? There actually was something I want to talk about, and I
Oh, you're a liar. That's what we can talk about. I call you out as a liar.
That you can, because it went on much longer than I thought last night. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna head back, and then all of a sudden I didn't come back, and I was like, damn, this took much
We
longer
knew
than I
you weren't
thought
coming.
because
We knew you weren't coming back. You said I'll be back, and I'm like, no, you won't. And then you left. And Kevin made a prediction that you would come back by 12, and you didn't. And I was like to Kevin, like, he ain't coming back. We'll never see him again.
I know you did.
So, look, you left the conversation. Fucking, oh my god. Just keep leaving.
No, I'm here. I listened, and I heard that Kevin made a prediction for 12 o'clock. Unfortunately, I did not live up to that prediction. Why is this not text message not sending? This is great.
Why is it unfortunate? It wasn't unfortunate. We all knew it was coming, except Kevin. He believed in you. And then I texted you my favorite clip that I text when people lie.
Everything you have built is on a lie!
Lies! And then I showed that to Kevin, and Kevin said, oh, you like that voice for Doc Ock? And then it turned into a whole thing. We talked about that for a bit.
I see.
So, oh, there's the G-Dog. Yeah, so, watching Batman Begins, pretty good movie, Seen it before, once or twice. 1 or 2,000 times, some would say.
This is not working at all. I might want to delete this thread.
Now we're I don't want to delete this thread. Hey, Giuseppe, we're live. Welcome to the cast. Hurry up.
Oh, awesome.
Well, Genesis already started streaming.
Welcome.
So, he was like, oh,
well, that's fine.
Oh yeah, look at that. We don't have to disable the HDCP thing anymore.
Yeah, it works. It works much better.
Hot diggity dog.
I can't.
Why did you have to do that in the first place?
It said can't stream your thing, and then we disabled HDCP, and then it worked. So, but apparently it's fixed. I don't know. I ain't a tech guy, you know what I mean? It's just GS719, you know what I mean?
I hear you. Tell you what, this Minecraft is
garbage.
Giving me all sorts of grief connecting. Okay, here we go.
Finally. Believe me, I understand. I feel your pain.
Feeling it.
Darth Naps has joined the game.
So we're inside, I guess.
Yeah, we're inside. We were outside last week. Remember the whole cow incident? That went beautiful, according to plan.
That was a well choreographed
according to
stunt.
Plan. Thank you.
I like that.
Genesis and I, we were very proud of the plan.
Oh, as well you should be.
We thought about it and played with it for 2 weeks.
Ooh, little seat rearrangements here.
I got a different face. So
that's an awesome face.
I was like, what kind of looks like me, but also is like creepy, and this is what I came up with.
So what are we talking about tonight? So I can...
Oh, that's a great. Genesis has some rumors.
I got a ton of rumors.
And then what's your topic?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about Warframe. I'm also going to talk a little bit about DC's Titans show, because my lovely wife and I have begun to watch it.
Oh, what season are you on?
We just started. We finished episode, what was it, Kat? Like 4 or 5? Yeah. So
okay, cool. Cool. I can talk about it with you then. I know Titans.
Cool. Yeah.
And my topic is well known, and I have it perfect, but I prefer to go second. So anyways, let's get this show on the road.
Okay. Just finishing this title.
Take your time. Genesis is throwing harpoons. What are those? Tridents?
Tridents.
Tridents.
This is not. I can't. I don't know why I can't text Brandon at all. This is terrible. I can't. He sent something nice to me, and I can't even respond to him back. This is
What?
insane.
What do you
I
mean?
can't.
Text
Just
him.
his number, I can't text back. It just gets stuck in sending, and it doesn't do anything. I'm restarting my phone.
He doesn't exist. Wait, Brandon, the one you're friends with on PlayStation?
Yeah.
You text him?
Yeah.
Why?
I gave him a bunch of codes for Borderlands when we were playing Borderlands.
Wait, is Brandon the dude in California or the one that talks like this?
Yes, the one that talks like that.
Oh, okay. That dude is super
The one that
cool.
Yeah, that dude's super
Wait,
cool.
isn't the one in California named Brandon as well?
No, I don't know.
What's his
who the hell's
name?
from California.
No, it's that
know.
that kid basically. He was like 19 when we were talking to him.
Oh, that was Goku something? Goku
Yeah. Isn't his name Brandon too?
What's his name, Brandon as well?
Yeah, I think so. He hasn't been on in a while, last I saw.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
Yeah. Yeah, that Brandon dude, though.
That guy, though. Yeah.
North Dakota?
This guy.
North Carolina? Where is he? Somewhere like that.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Nice dude. Friend of the
can't
show.
Text him back for whatever reason.
Well,
I can
because
text
he's in North
anybody else
Carolina. They can't receive texts in North Carolina. They can only send texts.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's because of the 3/4 line. It's not important. Anyways, Giuseppe, are you ready?
We are ready. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all to Crafting a Chat, episode 16.
17.
Oh, is it 17?
Yeah, it's 17. Last week was 16.
Last week was 16. Wow. Well, time's flying when we're having fun. So never mind that. We'll rewind it a tad and give you guys a nice little episode 17. From your boys, Adam, Genesis, Giuseppe Jones, we are here to craft a chat with you all. So please, join us in the chat. Send us your questions. We'd like to interact with our audience. If that audience is out there, we'll be here for you. And with that, gentlemen, what have you all been playing this past week?
Ooh. You know
Genesis.
what? No.
Not Genesis.
Not Genesis.
Adam, go for it.
Not me. Giuseppe, you always go last.
Well,
go first.
Priorities. Okay.
Go first. Come on.
Well, this week has been pretty rambunctious with life. So games have not really been very, very prevalent for me. But I have had the opportunity to recently get back into Warframe at the subliminal suggestion of Mr. Genesis. I've downloaded like all the updates and whatnot, and have rediscovered a fairly amusing, action effecty third-person shooter, which I've enjoyed since basically the very first days of my acquisition of a PS4, because games available at that time in the early days were fairly few and far between. And Warframe was a very, very interesting concept as a game, because it was probably it wasn't the first live service game I played on a console. That belonged to DC Universe Online, which I surprisingly enough actually enjoyed a lot of time with, particularly in regards to creating a character. I found that a little bit more enjoyable than just simply running through the World of Warcraft style, mission-based action, which is ultimately not as fun solo as with like a group, a clan, what have you. But Warframe, on the other hand, because the max loadout per mission, per whatever that you have engagement-wise, PvE, is up to 4 people. So. And if you build a Warframe correctly, and honestly, even if you don't, the game is actually quite forgiving for you to play solo. It just it gets a little repetitive after a while, and like Genesis had mentioned earlier in a previous chat, the learning curve for understanding like the ins and outs of the game to like properly min-max is very steep. But aside from that, though, it offers an awful lot of enjoyable gameplay that's Fast and Furious, and that's not a shameless plug to that movie franchise, but without having to actually pay. You can pay, and you can definitely get a lot of run for money that you put into the game, because then you buy the in-game currency called Platinum, and that way you can buy all different kinds of warframes, weapons, and whatnot, so that you're not literally starting from at the tail end of the curve. So it actually offers a lot of options to players who are new, players who are vets, and players who are, just coming back to it after a while, like me. So I've been dabbling with that in the past couple days, and I'm ready to actually delve a little bit deeper into it as I wait for bigger and better games to come on the horizon, whenever that may be. And that's it for me.
Genesis, you want to go next?
All right. First of all, what the hell is wrong with your eyes? I'm going to literally call you Shifty Eyes McGee over there, because your eyes keep going back and forth.
That.
And
it's actually quite cool.
You call me Shifty Eyes McGee. I'll call you by your real name, boy.
You can call me whatever you want. I don't understand the whole shifting eyes thing. And I'm like, okay, anyway.
I'll talk about when we get to what I've been playing.
All right. So I have been playing.
He's just turning away. Turn away.
I've been actually playing Miles Morales, which I platinumed. I had a lot of fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
Beat the game, platinum it. I just started back up Modern Warfare yesterday. Played a little bit of Warzone. Was playing a little multiplayer just to see how the game played. I installed Little Hope. I believe Adam and I are going to do something with Little Hope sometime this weekend.
Friday.
See if we can do either Friday, Saturday, do our, perfect run, which obviously it's going to happen. There's no question about that.
Yeah, not hard.
Been playing a little Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. I'm having a lovely time, dying 75 times in a span of 2 hours. Kevin can probably attest to that one because he's seen me die multiple times.
So did I. Except when I believed in you.
Yes, yeah. When you believed in me, I stopped dying for some reason. I also installed Resident Evil 3, which I got through Black Friday sale for Best Buy.
Nice.
I can't wait to play that now because I got it for dirt cheap. It was like $12. I was like, I'll do it. I'll take it. I played Resident Evil 2.
You did play 2, and you enjoyed that a lot.
Oh, I love 2. 2 was great.
So I really want to know what you have to say about like how 3 compares.
Yeah, and from what I've understood, 3 is fundamentally and gameplay-wise very good. It's very short. It's kind of like 2.5. It's not really a 3. It's more like they should have tacked this on as DLC to 2 and said, okay, we'll call it a day and make something different for 3. But I guess, I don't know, they didn't want to flesh it out as much as they should have. But otherwise, and the last thing I think I installed was Sackboy, which I have not started yet. I plan on starting that, but I think I'm going to play Little Hope first. I'm pretty excited to play that because after Man of Medan and our perfect run that we had in there, kind of want to know what happens next.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious.
And I think that is it that I've been playing. And I also just bought Moving Out. So I'm going to be putting that in, playing that with the wife. It's just very similar to Overcooked, except you're moving out of a house. So it's basically a couple of movers. You're going around to different houses, taking all their crap, throwing it out the window, throwing it out the door into a truck, and then you get out as fast as you can. So yeah, there's that. I can't wait to play all these different things. PlayStation 5 again has been a joy. Can't stop talking about it. It's fantastic. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
And the partridge in a pear tree. Good lord, that's a lot. Adam, what about you?
Similar to Genesis, I platinumed Miles Morales. I platinumed that before Genesis, though. I just want everyone to know that.
You did.
So that was my 71st platinum. And then immediately after I platinumed Miles Morales, uninstalled that piece of garbage. And then because I already got the platinum. It's garbage now. Nah, it's a great game. I kind of want to download it again just to swing around. But then I downloaded Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, started playing that. Got maybe 25% through the story, and then they were like, hey, you could do the upload your saves. And I was like, ooh, okay. So I went to upload my saves, and I ended up getting all the trophies. Even the remastered trophies that were like, get an ultimate and a taskmaster, perform 100 times combo. Apparently it remembered me doing that. on the PS4.
Wow.
So you got gifted another platinum for free?
Yeah, I got gifted. I knew I was going to get the other platinum for free, and I knew I would get the DLC trophies. I did not know it was going to gift me the other trophies, but apparently
Wow.
it tracked it enough in the PS4 version that I got it. So, yeah, if you have it, just
Outstanding.
put it in, pull it up, and get that. I'll probably end
Forgot
up
one more game
playing.
too.
What's that other game? Come on.
The My Name is Mayo too.
Oh yeah, you did play that and get the
I forgot that
platinum.
platinum that one as well.
Well, you did
I
it
got
in
two
like.
platinums in the week.
Hey, same. So, um, but yeah, I'm done with Spider-Man for now. I will definitely go back to remastered before Spider-Man 2 comes out. Just because I got to get used to that face a little bit more. It's still
Me too.
it's not as weird anymore because I played a little bit with it, but it's still kind of weird. Um,
Mm.
Overall, it's a face. It's whatever. I'll move on. So, and then played some Sackboy. Um, Again, still weird coming onto like a 3D platformer after playing Astro and Sackboy like right after. Sackboy, it starts off slow, but man, does that game ramp up with like new abilities and like the levels are so different and unique and the worlds are different and it's just such an inspirational game, like creativity wise. So I've been playing a little bit of that. I got the Outer Worlds installed on my PlayStation 5. Plan to play that
Oh yeah.
tomorrow,
Yeah,
starting
you told me
tomorrow.
about that.
Nice.
Going back into my save, trying to get all the trophies. Just play through the game because it's just a well written game. It's just the
Probably
loading
play a
times.
lot better on PS5
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
the loading time stopped me before, and apparently they're two-thirds quicker.
2000.
So, yeah,
That's a
that
big
should
help.
definitely help. Yeah, that should definitely help. Um, yeah, not much else. I don't think I've played anything else. Um, oh, my internet was out last week, so for a while I played that dinosaur game on the Google Chrome, while I was waiting at work. So it's just like hitting the
Mm.
space bar. I ended up getting like 11,000, which is high for me, but not the highest in the world. So,
Sure,
but yeah,
somebody's wasted their life sitting there and playing that game.
yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely. This is the first week we haven't played Ghost multiplayer.
Yeah, yeah, and I really want to beat the raid, and I'm sad that we
Or
have not gone back into beat the raid. So,
we just don't have enough people, but we will once Giuseppe gets Ghost.
oh, I would assume so. I would hope that with that we can finally
Yeah,
we
he's
can
got to
finally
get it,
be
and then he's got to grind it at a part for a while. He's got to grind for hard.
We
Right.
should be able to help him out
Oh,
quite a
we'll
bit to
help him.
get yeah, we'll help him to get
Yeah,
quite a few things.
don't worry,
I
Giuseppe. We'll
wouldn't.
grind with you.
I wouldn't mind jumping into that. Like, am I? Can I jump right into the multiplayer or no?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, from
yeah,
what we
yeah,
understand you can.
Good.
yeah,
I don't mind doing that. I
yeah.
don't mind doing that.
We'll grind right with you. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just
We'll
don't
be
tell
there
your
to
wife.
help you along the way.
So we'll figure it out.
Right. Right. Pro
But yeah,
tips.
yeah, that's their game. Well, Giuseppe, you talked about a game called Warframe. What is that?
So Warframe is a live service game that is free to play on PlayStation. It's free to play everywhere on all platforms,
PC.
and
Is it on Xbox?
it should be.
I
It's
cannot
it's
remember if it came
it's
there. I know it was a
yeah.
PlayStation exclusive, console exclusive for a
It,
while, and then it didn't.
it's available for PC. PC's had it longer than PlayStation.
Yes, yeah, yeah. PC had it first, then PlayStation. I
So
think Xbox just got it.
It's on Xbox
so
since
yeah.
November of
Okay,
2013.
Yeah. So
okay.
it is a third-person action shooter, sci-fi powers with all kinds of different kinds of gunplay and swordplay, melee weapons style of game, where the player is you're basically going through the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, and then beyond, to basically like kind of like clear the evil forces of influence, and it is well into the very very distant future. So you're talking about a lot of fights with aliens, infested abominations, tech type people. There's all different kinds of opposition in your path. But I would say like most of the gameplay boils down to a lot of like horde control, like mob destruction, and then leading up to either certain precision elements, like you have to sneak in certain vent areas in order to download information without being seen by cameras or being detected by alert devices. Also leading to very unique and interesting boss fights. And it's just a really, it's a very fun, high action, high quality game that's available for free, but it actually encourages you to spend money in a way that is basically the antithesis of most free to play business models, because while you can earn an awful lot playing the game for free, to accelerate your growth curve and to get into the really interesting and like most satisfying gameplay stuff, putting something in anywhere between like 10 and $20 to it, maybe even $30 to it, unlocks a whole world of options for you, because it gives you a lot of variance in the beginning, from choosing your starting warframes, and allows you to get into the game to kind of understand what the flow of the gameplay is like, and then it can help you like determine what style of gameplay that you want. Are you going to be more of like a caster type? Do you really want to get into guns? Do you want to be guns from a distance? Do you want to run and gun? Do you want to snipe? Do you want to just be an explosive type? I mean, like, yeah, I mean, the way I'm talking about it makes it sound like there's a lot of actual gameplay variance, but I mean, it really isn't, because once you get put into like the mid-tier to like higher tier level game sessions, the game just throws so much opposition at you. It's like a volume, it's like a tidal wave of enemies they just throw at you. Not to mention high scaling up levels. So there's so much happening on the screen. I could very easily see people like getting a little bit overtaxed by all of the audio visual stimuli, and be basically like keeping track of your character, being able to aim the reticle for casting your spells. Shooting is actually quite smooth. I wouldn't necessarily say it's precise. I wouldn't give it precise, but it's very smooth and very fast. It's there to match the speed of the gameplay, so it's very good with that. But if people if people play any kind of shooters, whether it's first person or third person, and they ever have like complaints regarding like hitboxes and whatnot, Warframe isn't going to be. He's going to give you all kinds of hemorrhoids over it. So you don't get into Warframe for something like that. However, it really does present a lot of value for free. And then if you want to put even a small amount of money into it, it gets you so much. And the game is constantly updating. It is really one of those live service games that has seen a constant evolutionary upswing. Granted, compared what it is right now compared to what I began with it on the first few weeks of PlayStation 4, it's night and day. It's certainly more complex to navigate the UI, to understand, okay, well, what do I need to do to complete missions? It's so far beyond me now. I'm completely lost. So I have no concept as to what I quote unquote need to do next. So I basically just hop into random either survival sessions or defense missions, which I enjoy the most, because it allows you to just pick one gameplay session, and then you basically play as long as either the group chooses to hang in there, or as long as you can survive. And with a good group where everyone's kind of like, watching out for each other and reviving each other, even against like max level difficulty, you can last a long time. I think the longest single mission session I've had was like 90 minutes, maybe more, for just one mission, and we got lots of really cool items in that by the end of that. But yeah, although I will say this, as cool as it plays, as good as it looks, for the value of basically nothing, you download it for free, Ninjas play for free. There is one glaring weakness of Warframe. and that happens to be its narrative. Now I know there is a narrative going on there because they do updates constantly where they highlight, okay, well, this is what's happening with the Grenier faction or the Corpus faction or blah 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 blah. And then sometimes bosses will have new evolutions. Like you'll fight like the same type of boss, but they'll have different tricks and different nuances to how to beat them. But the game itself doesn't really do a very good job at actually presenting that to the player because it's a very, very non-linear game. It's the beating heart of Warframe is a drop in, drop out, you know, fast-paced shooter experience. It does not move along a linear path. There is no true beginning, middle, and end. Uh, and that's kind of like the one area where it's just like, it's just kind of like a hodgepodge of whatever. So you just kind of like, you go in and you play that type of game because, you just want some fast-paced action where you're going to be running around a level and the level design is really gorgeous. Like the different types of planets that you go to, and the different kinds of space settings that they put you in. It's some really interesting design. It's very pretty to look at. Their use of color, the use of light and dark. I wouldn't say like the particle effects or the lighting effects are, anything like near the quality of, say, some of the games that are up for like best graphics, best graphic presentation this year, for instance. But it's the degree of contrast for the entire spectrum of colors and light and dark as well. They use it really, really well in Warframe. It's a very pretty to look at game that, for some odd reason, doesn't really suffer from a ton of like frame rate drops or a ton of lag, at least not in my experience. It does occasionally, but for what you're getting, it's actually kind of impressive because you're not paying an opening price gate to start playing the game, and there's no true paywall, not really, because I haven't put money into Warframe in, gosh, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 years, and I'm still getting stuff. You know what I mean? Now, granted, like after the money that I have put in, it really gave me a really good starting point and accelerated my growth to the point that I really didn't need to now. But I certainly can put in more if I wanted to take it to the next echelon. But I enjoy it all the same, where I'm at right now. So honestly, like anyone out there, you do a Google search on Warframe, and you'll find, for the most part, a whole lot of really positive articles, a lot of positive feedback, talking about it, not just because of how fun the game is, but for its free-to-play model. It's one of those live service games that gets it right in basically an entire galaxy of free-to-play games that really get it wrong. They're going after your wallet. They're going after you with gotcha. And this is a game that doesn't. So, I really cannot sing the praises of Warframe enough because of everything that I just mentioned there. And it's totally a great time to play, even better with friends. So Genesis, Radom, if you guys ever want to get into it, I'm ready. I'm ready to play a session or two because, it's a good time. I can't recommend it enough.
I'm not gonna lie, when you guys were texting about it, I almost responded, "Oh yeah, I was interested in that Starhawk game." Totally mixed this up with Warhawk. Um, and then I was like, "Wait, what? Do I know this game?" And I looked it up, and I was like, "Somehow I've missed this. I have never heard of this game, and if I have, I just totally just dismissed it out of my brain every time." So,
I played
Well,
Warhawk. Warhawk was a lot of fun. I started playing this game, but it was, like I said, the learning curve was very difficult for me to get into. And the whole weapon system was very confusing for me.
the
So
weapon
I'm assuming
system.
they've changed it now.
Oh, it's definitely much more complicated.
Oh, great.
part of
Okay.
the part of the problem. Okay, so here it is. It all boils down to the upgrading system. So every item that you have, every weapon that you can acquire, and every warframe that you collect along the way, basically goes from level 0 to level 30. And that's the max level for items and for warframes. But what pushes those items and armor sets basically beyond level 30 is the modification system, which is that's where the calculus comes into play. And it requires you to acquire a number of different special mods by basically running missions, and they all have different rarities, of course. You have to collect them, and then you have to level them based on, excess resources that you're acquiring along the way. So being able to min-max your characters, and not just the warframes, but the weapons that you're using them, requires a lot of schooling. You have to learn about using Forma to change the symbols in your modification slots to gain points based on the symbols of mods that you insert into those categories. And that goes for warframes, that goes for your weapons, that goes for your little carrier buddies, little animal creatures that you can, kind of like hatch and be little helpers for you as you run missions. But if you can jump that first hurdle, because this is the thing, the early game doesn't require you to do that. All you need to do, basically, you pick a warframe, you pick a gun, and you go. And you're good with that very basic, outlook for the majority of the early game. I'm sure you can clear up to Mars, without really having to really tinker with. It's like, oh my gosh, I haven't put enough points into this in order to be good at that, and blah blah blah. But eventually you do have to, and that's the one trick of Warframe. And again, this is coming from me now. Again, I'm not a Warframe scholar by any means, and I know I'm probably doing it a disservice for anyone out there who who is like a legit Warframe veteran. There's probably a lot to discuss, depth wise, that I'm just totally missing, because I too, even at this point, am a bit confused by the game in terms of well, how do I do certain things? I don't know how to unlock. For instance, there's a thing called Riven mods. Those are ultra rare mods that you get, and you have to do certain things in order to unlock them, to use them. Nice. So yes, Genesis, you're right. There is a learning curve at some point. It can be intimidating because there's just so much. This is one of those instances where a game suffers, it buckles a little bit under the weight of its own content. There's just so much content.
I feel like when you figure it out, though, it's very intuitive. My brother actually used to play it a lot. Before he got into League a lot, he actually played a lot of Warframe. There was a ton of Warframe he used to play. He was really invested in the entire thing. And then I remember you used to play with one of our old coworkers from Target. That you used to have what I don't know. I remember you guys used to talk about it a ton, and you guys were playing it a ton back in the day. And then as far as Warframe goes, a lot of people compare it to Destiny, and I used to compare it to Destiny a lot back in the day too, because Warframe was almost like the better version of Destiny, because it was basically what Destiny wanted to be, and that was even free to play too. You didn't have to pay $60 to try and get in, then another $35 for the season pass to get the two expansions that came out for it. A lot of people do that, but I guess I want to get your opinion too. Do you think that if and I hate to make this comparison because this game is kind of dead now, but do you think that if Avengers got launched in this type of way, would it have been better or more successful than it is now, where it's pretty much dead in the water?
Well, see, now this is the thing. The thing that made Avengers, everything that I read and everything that I saw gameplay-wise from the Avengers live service game, everything that I saw from that turned me off to that particular style of game, even though the similarities in terms of like the base mechanics are very, very similar to a Warframe, and even to Destiny in terms of like the whole looter shooter aspect to it. But the problem is though, whereas in Destiny and in Warframe, yes, you pick different classes, and the different classes have different kinds of skills and power sets and whatnot to to effectively min max your character. That's a very difficult concept to like impose on Avengers characters. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Hulk smashes, Widow stings, Spider-Man swings, Iron Man blasts. You know what I mean? Like, so the whole trying to get those iconic characters who, yes, they're in the comic books and in the stories and the films and TV shows. Yeah, they're shown to be a little bit more well-rounded people, but that doesn't do anything for your quote-unquote looter shooter game where they're going to be looting and shooting. So, and those characters only shoot, quote-unquote, battle, fight, what have you, in their unique way. You know, Black Widow is not going to spontaneously jump into an Iron Man armor suit because, you know, if you could, then every character needs to do the same, because in order to give, you know, some kind of balanced gameplay to everybody, and just having, and that too is also the problem with the Avengers thing too. Like, the characters inherently present a balancing issue. Like, somebody whoever's playing the Hulk at the time is, you know, they may be good, they may be bad at the game, but are they truly equivalent to somebody who's playing Black Widow in the same gameplay session? I mean, I don't know. Are they? I just don't see that, you know, intuitively, conceptually. And they might have figured out a way in terms of the math, in terms of scaling the DPS for different, you know, characters, different classes. But I don't see how that, just the concept of that translates very well. This is one of those cases where those characters are far too unique, as opposed to the more generalized classes that you get from both a Destiny or a Warframe, where the classes are a little bit more open-ended, and you can the way that you make those characters your own is through a much deeper modification system that just simply works better with open-ended characters, as opposed to iconic characters who, you know, are expected to behave and work and play and you know, fly and walk and run through the world in a certain way. You know what I mean? And to change that would fundamentally break the experience of the game. You know what I mean? Like, if Spider-Man is no longer swinging, and now he's, I don't know, using like Bobby Drake's ice surfing move spontaneously, it's like, wait, what? Why? This is not what Spider-Man does. Spider-Man doesn't do that. What's going on here? I'm not saying that they did that in the game, but doing something like that in order to present more a greater variety in the gameplay, in order just to spice things up, just because they are in desperate need of it, it's not gonna work for it. You know what I mean? It's not good.
Right.
And I don't know. I never thought turning Avengers into a looter shooter, whether it was free to play or it was a standard AAA, I never thought that was a good idea, because you just, so what, you give Hulk a new set of shorts and that makes him jump 2 times higher? What? That doesn't make any sense. That's crazy. You know, like, the giving these characters different items to have different skills and abilities to present that varied gameplay, it just doesn't work. It was something that, it was literally like the elephant in the room that the development team, when they were conceptualizing this idea at Square Enix in the first place, that nobody ever really addressed it, and it shows right now with their hemorrhaging user and player base. My goodness, is anyone ever going to go back to it? Probably not. I mean, do we have any current numbers on it?
I don't think that that game made much money at all. I read something about it online, but I'll get to that when I get to my section, if we go over a couple things like that. But as far as I understand, that game's not doing very well at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
And that's a shame too, because like that's just a very, very poor use of the license. in a 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 way that's quite similar to EA's handling of the Star Wars license. It's
Oh
all
yeah.
like these companies are just looking to maximize profits as opposed to just let's start with making a good game first.
Yeah.
Or not. And if you don't have an idea for a good game, have a good idea for a good model. You know what I mean? And in games like Warframe show you after years of being around and being not one of the first to jump on the whole free to play live service models, but they were one of the earlier ones, and they're still hanging around. They're still relevant. They may not be at the top of the heap, but that's a legit game, and it's old, but it's still fun and it looks good. It plays good. I mean, it may not be as deep, and it'll probably never be up for any kind of Game of the Year awards or anything like that. But
I think it did participate in some of the gaming awards as a nominee or something like that. This was a while back though, but
right,
people
yeah,
have given universal praise for the game, especially being a
it's a great.
free to play title. Yeah, yeah.
I can't people say free to play games to me anywhere in my presence, and I scream on the inside because because they're just so horrible. Because they really do find ways to just cut off the potential of a game right at its knees for profitability. It's not for gameplay. It's for extended grind, and that's not fun. And you know, I can't really say that for Warframe. I mean, there's just so much stuff to acquire in that game. You don't even know what you'd even be grinding for until you really, graduate from Tenno College, basically, where you learn about, how all the modifications work, what you need to maximize everything, what missions you need to run to do it, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really sad for the Avengers game because I love the Avengers IP. I certainly am a big fan of the MCU, and it's just sad that they've not been able to create some very good games out of them. And I got to tell you, I know I'll catch a lot of flack for it, but Ultimate Alliance games and those X-Men Legends games, man, those leave this Avengers game way in the dust. And those are some old games, but they had a very similar concept in terms of just bringing all the heroes together and getting them in there, use their powers, and play. It was those were just better games. Maybe not better looking, but they were just better. They were just more fun. And and too bad for Square Enix. They need to redeploy their quality control council of elders to right the ship with that, or better yet, just pack in the whole live service model and just give us a good superhero game. They can go ahead and check with our good friends who developed Spider-Man and Miles Morales to if they need some tips, because there are some good examples out there. So.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really all I have to say about Warframe. I didn't mean to suck any additional oxygen out of the room, but yeah, Warframe. It's a good time. Old game, fun game, fast game. Try it out.
Good. Preach. Adam, where are you going next, or you want me to go?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were going into your next thing.
Oh, my next thing?
Yeah, you said you had another thing to talk about. Real quick.
I did have another thing to talk about, so I guess we'll keep it relatively brief.
You got some time.
So when it comes to the DC Entertainment universe, I'm definitely a much stronger believer in their television projects, mostly in regards to Arrowverse. Definitely appreciate the contributions of
CW-verse now.
Well, right, CW-verse, right. But definitely appreciate the contributions of Steve Amell. Definitely had been the face of that whole franchise for a while, and he's probably not going to win an Academy Award anytime soon. But he definitely, like, his effort on that show from day one till the last day. It shows. It shows in the character that he brought. And honestly, like when it comes to the pantheon of DC characters, Green Arrow is whatever.
Yeah.
I consider him a B-lister, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people considered Iron Man a B-lister before Robert Downey brought him to a different level. But that aside,
A-lister.
my wife and I have recently started watching Titans on HBO Max, and I gotta say, I'm actually really entertained and impressed with what they've been showing so far because it's very adult oriented. It is not your animated cutesy girly and boy Teen Titans animated show. It's definitely adult themed. A lot of graphic violence, some
Yeah.
adult
Yeah.
language, and adult situations. Uh, but it's also telling a pretty good story, a good
Mm-hmm.
character-driven story. And if you ever really wanted to see a good character piece, at the very least, again, me and my wife are only 5 episodes into the first season. But if you've ever had a really good hankering to learn about what does it mean to be the protege of Batman as the first Robin, Dick Grayson, I think that's probably the strongest subplot that's going on in the story at this point is like learning about what Dick Grayson feels about in the present about his past experience from boyhood to being, you know, raised by Bruce to then being trained by Bruce and then becoming Robin and then seeing what that has done to him as a person. You know, he's yes a vigilante. Yes, he's into fighting crime, and he's made that his adult quote unquote profession. But that kind of vigilante lifestyle takes a toll, and it's interesting to see that kind of exploration because Batman always takes all the limelight in just about any story he's peripheral to. Heck, even in the Gotham show. I mean, that Gotham show started, uh, you know, without him, and yet he still somehow finds his way in there. I don't
Star of
know.
the show.
I don't know if that's going to ultimately happen for Titans because it's constantly, or at least, well, not constantly, but it's been teased a few times, and the you can definitely feel the shadow of Batman
Mm-hmm.
lurking, and that as long as they keep the shadow there, I think that's fine. I hope they don't show him though. As much as I'd love to see Batman in anything,
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to see him in that show because I feel like that might undercut everything that they have going on so far. Again, only 5 episodes in. These are just my first observations regarding the story. But I like the character stuff, and that's what you need in a superhero TV show or a movie. If your character has to lead the way, character must drive your story, and you have to have great interaction among the characters. But not just that, you have to have the simultaneous stories that each character is evolving for themselves. Those stories also have to intertwine in relevant ways, and I think that the Titans show so far is doing a good job at that. It's not the greatest. There
No.
are some parts that it's like, wait, well, where did that come from? It's like, oh, okay, and now we're doing this thing. It's like, well, whatever. And there are maybe a couple continuity issues here and there. But aside from that, I really like the character stuff that they got going on Titans. That is relatively Batman independent, and that's a rare thing to say for any kind of DC license to make it actually, a thumbs up experience. Because generally speaking, if it's not Batman, it ain't going too many places for the most part. So far so good for the Titans show. Adam, how many episodes have you seen of that show?
I've watched all of season one, and I have not continued it. Not
Okay.
because I didn't like it. It's just because I didn't feel like stealing it anymore, and the episode quality wasn't that great from when I was stealing it. But I'm getting
Mm,
HBO in December, because of Wonder Woman.
Right.
So I'll be watching it there. I'll tell you something about season one. Season finale is, I think, fantastic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they do lean a little bit more heavily on Batman, but thankfully they never he's never 100% like the star or anything like that. It's really cool, especially in the finale. I don't want to ruin anything, so that's all I'm going to say. Um,
Cool.
I like a lot of the show. It's very similar to how I feel about every DC Zack Snyder film. I like so much, but there is so much I don't like. Like
Mm-hmm.
the edginess of it, I think works most of the time. I like the cast mainly. I think the weakest one in season one is Raven. There's just something about her that's not great. Best episode
Mm-hmm.
is episode 7. So look out for that.
Okay. Excellent.
It's a
Something to
good
look
one.
for.
There's a lot of good moments in that show. The dude who plays Dick Grayson is fantastic. That's actually who I fan casted as Dick Grayson for the movies. But
Ooh,
whatever.
nice.
Not upset, but I'll eventually watch season 2 and 3, and I'm sure you'll catch up to there. You'll probably get there before me, and we'll talk about it. I definitely want to talk to you about that season finale, though.
Now, does Doom Patrol need to be watched in tandem with the Titans
No,
show?
no.
Okay,
Doom Patrol is introduced in an episode of Titans, and
which we saw.
then yeah, and then they have their own separate show. That was a
Mm-hmm.
good episode. That Doom Patrol episode. I really liked that. That's probably my favorite episode. That Doom Patrol
Mm-hmm.
episode. Um, but I haven't watched any of Doom Patrol other than that one episode in Titans. So, and I hear that's better than Titans. So the
Oh
two
wow.
shows I have not watched are the Harley Quinn animated show and the Doom Patrol show, and apparently those are the best things on HBO Max right now, and
No
any
kidding.
with DC related. So two things I have to check out as someone I feel like everyone knows, especially since the fandom. I'm the resident DC fanboy. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a good show. Hank and Dove, really like Hank and Dove in that show, Titans. I think they're great.
Yeah, that's yeah, I'm aware of those characters. I'm not very familiar with them.
I have you seen the centric episode about them, like how they met and all
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
yeah.
I love that episode too. Just how they get along. Also seeing the girl from Detroit. It's like, whoa, you're in Detroit. So
Uh,
crazy. But yeah, no, I like Titans. So I, but again, at the end of season 1, I wasn't like, man, I gotta see season 2, even though it does end on a huge ass cliffhanger. So I mean, family
what do
show,
you
huge
think?
butt cliffhanger.
What do you think is missing? Would you say, like, is it something that it's missing, or it's something that something that's there that they just need to do better? I'm just curious if you have that kind of observation.
I don't like how um it's just not my interpretation of the characters.
Hmm.
Like to understand I feel like you have to earn the edginess, and to just jump in without seeing these characters like, yeah, Batman's a figure. I only think it's cool to hear about Batman because I know the comics history of Batman. I'm a fan of Batman from other properties. If I knew nothing about Batman and why I watched this show, I'd be like, who is this guy? He sounds like a jerk. Like,
Mm.
it clearly builds off of your fandom of DC. It's not a self-contained story enough. And I feel like that's the weakest part of that show. I also just don't care about like it's this realistic take. Like, give me the quips, give me the comic like representations of everything. Robin's a little too violent for me. Um, just let him hit people and not like rub their face in glass. That'd be cool. Like,
Yeah, that was a
I
bit much.
I get what you're trying to do, but at the same time, like you don't need to do that. So
I never, again, I'm not quite the bat scholar that you are, but from the comics that I've read and the animated shows and the shorts and films that I've seen regarding the bat mythology, I never got the impression that a Dick Grayson Robin. I always understood that at some point they had a falling out. And this is mostly attributed to the Batman the Animated Series, because I think they explored that very well.
They did
in that show. But Dick Grayson was never he never became the old man. You know what I mean? Like that was the reason why they split. And he chose to do things a different way, with a little bit more charisma, perhaps a little bit more intellect, as opposed to face pounding. But it was just his style, and he never came across as like a hothead to me. You know what I mean? That was always,
he's not.
He's not. Hothead to me translates to like Damian Wayne. You know what I mean? Like little psycho boy. You know what I mean? Like that's that character. And I feel like maybe like they pushed him into that direction a little bit too hard. Like you can still have him be divergent from the master as the apprentice gone rogue or solo, without leaning too heavy into the aggro, I feel. But I don't know. That's me. So I agree with you. I agree that that interpretation might have been a little gratuitous, just for the sake of leaning into the edge and to the hardcore nature of the realism. I don't not like necessarily grounding these types of comic adaptations in reality. You can still have realism to them, but grounding them in reality, that really goes out the window once people start shooting lightning bolts and whatnot. So.
A perfect example of grounding something in reality that works, I think, is obviously Chris Nolan's trilogy, especially The Dark Knight. I was actually just watching Batman Begins before we all jumped in here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. But it's grounded in reality, and it's great. And as much as I like it, there's always going to be that thing like, yeah, but I want the full comics history. I want them to embrace the comics. I don't want them to just dismiss them like they have been for a while. And I think that's the one thing that like the Snyderverse kind of gets right is even though there is some sort of reality grounding in it, like it's still fantastical how Batman moves and he could dodge like what's that monster's name from Batman v Superman?
Doomsday.
Doomsday. Thank you. Oh man. Ooh. Oh no.
So forgettable. So
Yeah,
forgettable.
it's such a memorable character and so forgettable in that movie. But yeah, it's like it's still grounded in a reality, but at the same time, it still has that fantastical elements, and it does that darkness. I think right mostly. There are elements I hate. We've gone over this multiple times. And Titans just is. It's like if somebody saw a Zack Snyder film and was like, all right, let's do this on a TV show budget, but also let's make it for the like edgy teens. And even though we're going to cast people who in any other medium they would play teenage versions of this, we're just going to call it Titans. Like, I respect that they didn't call it Teen Titans because
yeah, because it's not that kind of show.
No, not at all. Titans. There's that Pro ZD sketch. I highly recommend. It's like 30 seconds where he's like, it's making fun of the DC board members. Like, it has to be cooler. Titans. So, but I'm excited to see season 2 and 3. I hear 2 is actually better than 1. So, we'll see.
So I mean, like when we were watching it, I only saw seasons 1 and 2 available. So I don't know if 3 is actually...
I don't even know they've made 3 yet. I think they're making 3 and it hasn't come out yet. But season 2 has Deathstroke in it. And
so they do that story?
Yeah, they do a story with him apparently. And I want to see that because his kids are brought in. And I want to know more of that. Also, I do want to know what happens at the end of season 1 because, like I said, it does end on a cliffhanger. Right. But that season 1 finale, beautiful, love it.
Good stuff.
Get excited for that.
So yeah, definitely a solid recommendation for Titans and for Warframe. So that's what we got crafting so far. Adam, you want to take us into our next segment?
Yeah, I got a real quick segment, but Genesis. You've been quiet for a while. I don't know if it's because you didn't watch Titans. I don't know if you fell asleep.
No, I'm here.
I also didn't
I'm
know
here.
if you were
Coming back from the
petrified
bathroom.
of my face. Let me talk about my face real quick.
Let's
I
do
said
that.
I said I was going to bring it up in what I played. I decided not to. So what's wrong with my face is, I got a free subscription, a free 30-day trial to Realms, because we have our own world called Carcosa Isle, and when you make a realm, I figured as a dum-dum that it would ask me, do you want to make your like one of your existing worlds a realm? But it didn't. It just made a new realm. And then it wouldn't let me overwrite the realm, and it wouldn't let me close the realm. So I spent about an hour just retrying it over and over and over. And that was the first night. The second night, I tried it again, and I finally got it to work, but then it wouldn't allow me to look at any of my skins that I own. My own skins are 0 now, for some reason, even though I had like a legacy edition of Minecraft, because I've had this Minecraft
That's
since
why you were saying
PS3.
that night.
Yeah,
Now I remember. Okay.
I've had a legacy edition of Minecraft since PS3, and I had a suit skin that I always wore, and now it says I own no skins. So I spent maybe 20 minutes in the character creator, and I made this. I'm like, the hair's like long, but it's kind of balding, and I'm like, that's me. The mouth is crazy and wide open. I'm like, that's also me. And then the shifty eyes. I was like, I got to look at Genesis the entire podcast. You bet your bottom dollar I'm getting some
Son of a
shifty
gun.
eyes. Yeah, and then the clothes options, not a lot. It's literally Giuseppe's shirt, Steve's shirt, a robe, and this shirt. The end. Also, you can't change the color of any of the shirts, even though you can change the color of your hairs. But for some reason, the shirts you can't change because they want you to buy more shirts. And every
Have you
cosmetic
tried to
item,
restore your licenses, like to get back your
yes,
purchases on Minecraft?
yes.
Okay, you have that. Okay, okay. Go ahead. I'm
Also,
sorry. Go ahead.
I ended up making a second realm. And I think I paid like $8 to make it, but I canceled it real quick. I have to call them, see if I can get a refund on that, because you can if you want a realm, you can only, it's one realm for 10 people is free for 30 days at first, and then it's $7.99 American, to a month. And
But what does that actually get you? Like,
our server, our Carcosa Isle server, is now live. You can literally join it when I'm not on. You play it whenever you want.
oh,
Except now, because when we logged on to do this, it said Realms was down. So, I
so
don't know.
obviously if Realms is down, that whole option is invalidated for you.
It is, but I could still play the world. I can also download the world from Realms. So after like a day or two, I'll probably just download it, just so it's like saved in our like on my PlayStation and uploaded to the cloud. Even though it's uploaded to like Minecraft cloud servers, I can just constantly like just just keep an extra backup. Because
Right.
even though it's a realm, it's now a separate save from the world I have saved on my PlayStation 5 and 4. So, but I'll keep backing that up. But yeah, it's something that we could just keep jumping in. And I was gonna do this server, and then I was like, why? This is one we don't play on. And the other
Right.
one, our friend Chris, he said he would chip in and pay for that because he would jump in and play every so often. And I said
I
I'd
agree. Do
pay.
the same.
Yeah, you did
I'll do the
too.
same.
So yeah, I mean honestly, but I'd probably do it. I just want to see how well it works first. It's not something I would
That's
probably keep going all year round because something about a 90 something dollar subscription to Minecraft bothers me. And
as well it
also,
should.
yeah, and also I can't imagine that we'll play so much like during the summer months and stuff. So starting it up during the winter and stuff, especially during like the pandemic and all that, like I feel like it's a good time to just test this out. So, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
they have
happened to my face. So I'm stuck like this forever now. And I will not change it. I wanted
Unless you
different.
get your suit back?
If I can get my suit back, I'll put the suit on, but I'm keeping my face. I wanted different hair, but then you couldn't see my eyebrows, similar to Giuseppe's face. You can't see his eyebrows because they're hidden by his hair. Those are the eyes I wanted. So, but my topic tonight is something that I want to keep short because we'll go over, and I don't want to do that. So we got about 15 minutes. No, we can talk. It's only 15 minutes, I think. I want to get your thoughts on something I think we all know about and all hate: scalping. Because I don't know if you both saw. There's apparently the scalper bots in the UK-based group has scalped 3,500 PlayStation 5s, which is more than any retailer currently has in the UK. I will not mention the scalper group's name. I don't recommend anybody looking them up. Don't give them credit. Don't buy a scalped PlayStation 5. We talked about this last week. Just don't. Hold off. Sony has promised more is coming in. You just got to be patient. Follow Wario64 on Twitter. Follow a bunch of other people on Twitter. They'll help you get it. But I just want to talk about how you guys feel about scalping in general, and then how you feel about it with consoles. And I'm going to start with you, Genesis, because I know you have a little business in it.
Nice. We're gonna throw you right under the bus. Right
Where are you?
Sorry, I was just walking back here. I heard exactly what you just said. I have a business in it.
Well, I know you bought and resold things before. Like, I'm okay with buying and reselling. I want to get your opinion on scalping in general, and like, how do you feel about that news of that group that has 3,500 PlayStation 5s?
All right. So to keep in TOS and to not have our channel deleted immediately, I'm sure we said the word die, kill, all this stuff before. I'm going to use Giuseppe's quote of whoever it was has to die. Fanboys should die, or fanboys must die.
Must, yeah.
I'm going to go with scalpers should die. Now, I'm going to explain a couple things here, though. There is a very fine line between the resellers and the scalpers. And I want to make that distinction because, yes, I have done this in the past. I have not recently done this with PlayStation 5. I did this with PS4.
So you barely get one.
I got only one other PS4. I'm sorry, two other PS4s, which one I actually just gave to a friend, and the other one was the one that I sold. And the profit margin that I had made on that wasn't huge. Even when PS4s were very, very in demand, and people were paying upwards of $700-800 for those guys at that point in time. Now, a reseller, okay, if you buy one or two and you resell those, and I'm keeping in numbers in the single digits here, because even I think when you get to like overly excessive of like 7 or 8, you're basically crossing into scalper territory at that point.
So real quick, they're reselling the disc version for $1,100 and the digital version for $900.
Jeez, these guys. I really think if you're within less than 5, I'll keep it at that. Keep it simple. Less than 5, and you're reselling them, and obviously you're trying to make a profit. Everybody's in it to make money at the end of the day. You're a reseller. You become a scalper when you got bots that are programmed to do this for you. You get into a website, crash the entire website for everyone else who's legitimately trying to get one for themselves, for their kid, for their dad, for their brother, for their sister, whatever it might be. And you make things harder on everyone else. If you're not using bots and you're trying to get in there and you're like, all right, I want to buy like one or two more. I got a couple friends who might want one. They probably pay me like $100 or $200 extra for all my efforts that I've gone through here. Cool. That's fine. Not a problem. I've seen Twitter posts of these, worse than the scum of the earth people who have had just their front doors or living rooms or whatever room they're in filled with PS5s and some Xbox Series X's, but mostly PS5s. And those people just... I have very strong words for them, but I can't really say them on here. Very strong words for them. If you're getting upwards of 5 to 10 to 15 to 20, and you're just using bots to mess other people's lives up, of people who are trying to get some, dude, listen, you were a waste at your conception. You were a waste when whatever
Well,
parents of yours
yeah,
decided to create you.
let's try to keep it a
And
little more.
I'm keeping it as real as I can be at this point,
All right,
okay?
all right. I respect
Without
it.
having any curse words or anything.
A
You are
wasted
legitimately
conception.
a waste of every human resource it took to make you.
Wow.
Because
You're a waste of
you
amino acids, buddy.
existing you existing, and I don't care what you do. I don't care if it's to feed your starving 10 children. I don't care what it's for. What you
Although it's
do,
probably not that.
I'm sure it's not that. But, what do I know? Even if it is, I don't really care. This is the same exact... They rank the same way that the people who scam call people and steal their identities over the phone and feel good about it because they can feed their starving children
Well,
somewhere in
that's
India or wherever it is.
That's
And
in
they
America,
defend their
too,
points of
so,
like,
in
yeah, sure.
France.
And if they defend their points when somebody says, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing this," and they're like, "Well, I'm doing good. I'm fine." You are worse, if not the same level than those people are.
But what you've
Because
described
all
is a
you do,
crime. With the scamming of phone calls, stealing their identity, lying about, like, hey, you got to pay
you might as
$500
well
in bail.
categorize this as a crime too. It's just that nobody's reporting this as a crime at
It's
this
not a
point.
crime. It's not illegal to do
No,
this.
I
Yeah,
know. It should be. I know it's not. It should be
Well,
because
let's hold off on that. Let's hold that thought. Let's get Giuseppe's thoughts, and then I want to get back to that. Giuseppe, what are your
Right.
thoughts
Okay.
on scalping?
So yeah, well, we'll just like piggyback right off of that. It's you're right, Adam is correct. It's not a crime. It's capitalism, and
Yeah, I
unfortunately,
understand that.
the name
I
of the
get that.
game is I've acquired something in the free market, and now I can choose to keep it for whatever kind of personal use, or if I choose to sell it, then I'm fully within my rights in a society as the United States to do so. I think ultimately the question boils down regarding the ethics and or quote unquote morality of this kind of situation is volume, because there's Genesis, like you were alluding to earlier, there is a difference between resellers who, for the most part, are not. They simply don't have the means to go out and procure, hundreds of, an in-demand product, whether it's a PS5, a new smartphone, a new gadget, a new whatever.
This could be anything. We're not limiting this to
No, no,
PS5. I mean, this is
well,
also
and
like iPhones and
but
things
that's
like that. I
Shoes.
have no
that's what I'm.
idea.
Yeah.
Well, right,
Yep,
and
yep.
but that's
Shoes,
exactly.
shoes, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, it's a difference between people who you maybe get like I don't know, two or three of a certain thing with the hopes of like basically paying for the one that they acquired and maybe making a little bit more on top,
It's fine.
versus this
Fine.
seriously huge voluminous scamming. Well, not scamming, but scalping is what I meant.
I call it
Scalping,
scamming. You're getting in
scalping.
front of everybody else. Bots.
Um,
Goddamn wastes of life.
Let him speak.
Go ahead.
this scalping cabal, we'll call it. That and again, it's still not illegal, but it just definitely paints it's very bad optics. It doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good, and the fact that those people have kind of like in an attempt to uh, gain some visibility for for their sales, for who they are, and hey, come here and buy it from us. They've been kind of rubbing it in everyone's faces, showing off the excess. You know what I mean? Showing how awesome and fortunate that they are because they have enough capital to go ahead and throw a wide net and get all this product, and then be able to somehow, with the units that they sell at the rates that they sell them, turn a higher profit percentage than the company that conceived the thing in the first place. So think that's another thing interesting to consider. But at the same time, it's just for me, it produces a very, very irrational fear, and all fears are irrational. But this particular fear is that if these larger companies, at the end of the day, if they ever start drinking the Kool-Aid that the scalpers have consistently, fed to the global marketplace, and they're like, if we put this unit out and we price it at $700, well, that's already a very seemingly unattractive price point because, hey, look at average employment numbers, income numbers, blah, 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 yeah, cost of living, blah, 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 whatever. They have their algorithms for that. But maybe some smart guy in the boardroom was like, you know what? We don't care about customers. We just care about profits. So why not just charge something ridiculous? Because there is a market for it. It might not be as robust a market as the ones for a more responsibly priced launch, but there's money to be made, and there are fools out there willing to give it to us. Why not explore / exploit that, at least at the initial onset, day one, Gen 1, brand new product. That's just a fear of mine. I don't believe that they would succumb to that, but in a corporate mindset, just about anything's possible. And honestly, ethics is not something that you should ever expect from the boardroom. That's not, again, it's all about profit and driving profits ahead, and doing anything and everything under the law, and finding means to bend it is a way to do it. And honestly, scalping is kind of like one of those inspirational subsets from corporate culture. It's like, I can take the thing that you want to sell and hype up the trend and drive profits for you. I will take that thing and I'll do the same thing for myself. And because I know that there is going to be a rarity issue at the onset, and I'm going to use real time to my own advantage in order to profit off of the market in a timed situation. So I'm personally turned off by it because there are a lot of people out there that are not interested in acquiring a bunch for profit. They just want one for pleasure. And a lot of people have been left out on the cold on the first wave, and the question remains how long it will take before those people actually get to acquire one to enjoy for themselves.
So thankfully, Sony has said that they're restocking, and retailers look out. Walmart actually a couple hours ago had them available again, and they sold out.
PlayStation Direct also had a few available
Yeah,
again.
they sold out again immediately. The reason I bring this up is really about the whole legality thing and how to solve this issue. This is always brought up every time there's a new console launch or even sneakers. I know it's a big for them. Concert tickets, baseball games, sports, any kind of ticket sales. They've tried to cut back on it as well with scalpers. But I found a Reddit post that was posted 12 days ago, and it's by a user named the_Fenice, FENICE. I sent it in the group chat. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this guy, he says the solution to scalping is you can't have anyone sell anything within the first year or two that's over MSRP. And he gets a lot of flack because I agree with most of the comments that you should still be able to sell it higher. But there is one comment further down in here where it says maybe there should just be a limit on how much you could sell it for, which I think could be something, but at the same time, I'm still of the mindset that this should fall on the retailers to do. But with that mindset, the retailers won't do anything because, as Giuseppe said, they're just trying to make a profit. Genesis, what are your thoughts?
I think I'm going to have to go with there should be a limit to what the profit margin is. So, okay, let's say MSRP is $400. and the limit that you're allowed to sell this for is to make a at least what am I thinking? At least a 50% profit margin on it. So you can sell it for a maximum of $200 more. That's it. That's all you can go up to, right? Let's say you can go up to $600, and if you sell more, then it becomes illegal to do that for the first 2 years, I would say.
Well, you can sell it for more
After
than
that,
that because you got to cover your shipping costs, and you're not making a profit with taxes and all that. So
200 is enough. That you're still, even with shipping costs and the taxes, you're still walking out of there with at least $50 to $75 to your name at that
well,
point.
the thing is, you're saying $200 profit you can't make. So if
Oh,
they're
okay. So
buying
I
it
should
for
say
500 and they're actually paying 549 or whatever it is with taxes in your state, then their shipping when they sell it to you, they're going to charge about 300 to 400 more because they need to make a $200 profit.
So then I should say, instead of that, I apologize. I'll reword it. So 20% should be your profit, and then you can, as long as your maximum profit you're earning
Okay.
is not above 20%, then you're fine. So at the end of the day, if you're making $80 off that sale, right? Whatever you sell it for, as long as it's not exceeding, you're making $80 off of that. That should be it. 20% of that would be what I would say is your profit margin at that point. That discourages people because you can't make endless amounts of money. Like as a PS5 sits right now, it's $500, but people are selling for $1,100. Even with taxes, even with shipping, even with eBay fees, PayPal fees, all
Yeah.
that stuff, you're still making a good chunk of change at the end of the day to probably go out and literally put a down payment on another PS5 and start the cycle all over again.
Yeah.
There's no need to make that much money on it. And the edit comment that I saw that he made in there was people gave him a lot of flack, and it's just the main people are saying, well, this is America, welcome to America. I'm like, well,
There's a lot of that in the comments, though.
Yes,
There is a
yeah,
lot, free country,
honestly,
bro.
yeah, without going in too deep down a rabbit hole of all this garbage that I don't really want to get into, I get it's a free country. I understand that. These kind of things, though, need a limitation on them because the main issue is, yes, suppliers want to get their item out. Yes, suppliers want to make money when they sell it to the retailers. Retailers want to make money by selling more and more of them, and they report these record sales. Wow, we sold all these consoles. We're going to get more attachment, all that good stuff, whatever. The main issue is that the people who want it, I'm still part of the Discord of people who have not gotten theirs yet. And there are so many people who desperately jump on as soon as the PS Direct starts, as soon as Walmart starts, as soon as Target starts, hell, as soon as Ant Online starts, as soon as Kohl's starts, as soon as there's so many retailers these poor people go to, and I was one of them, obviously, until I got a PS5 straight from Sony Direct, and thank God I stayed up the night that I did to get it, or else I don't know where I would have been. I have one good friend who still has not gotten one, and I feel for him because he's trying, and it's just not happening.
Is it the real Chris?
No. This is the.
We also know real
did
Chris.
he not?
He still hasn't
Did
gotten one,
he?
as far as I know.
Oh my God, he still hasn't gotten one either. This is one of my personal friends. I talk with him, and he hasn't gotten one yet. I try and help him by sending him the links as soon as the direct comes up or something comes up to let him know. And I mean, this could even go towards Giuseppe at this point because obviously I don't know when you'd be getting a PS5, but if this just continues and they keep running out of consoles to sell, because I think it was like 3 days ago, Jim Ryan said that we're done, like we're sold through, and then I think today they made the tweet saying we have more coming, we're going to give more to the retailers to sell. I have a feeling after Christmas it's going to be a ghost town for PlayStation 5. I don't think you'll be able to find one until at least like February or middle of February, for that 1 month at least. Because they're gonna be making as many as they can to then mass sell again in March, April, May, and getting into the summertime when depending on how next year goes, obviously with the pandemic and all that stuff, when people buy game stuff and high season of gaming comes around, and then they're preparing for the fall launches and things like that. My main thing is that there's still the purpose of. People who want one have not gotten one. And these godforsaken people who do this garbage that makes them the scum of the earth just should be at least limited to what they do, There should be a rule or a law or something in place that says, hey, you can't just make endless godforsaken. There needs to be a checks and balance system for this. That you can't just buy all these and sell all these and make giant amounts of profit because you have a bot that decides to mess with other people's experiences of trying to get on a website. And equally, that is on the retailer side as well. Walmart has a terrible website. If you're watching this, you have a terrible website. Same goes with Target. Same goes everybody literally except for PS Direct. They are the only the saving grace in this.
I love your
of
passion,
getting that.
but I'm going to have to cut you off because we're going a little over time, and I want to hear
Go ahead.
Giuseppe's thoughts.
Absolutely.
Giuseppe,
I'm done. I'm done.
what do you think the solution to this is?
Well, as much as I'm intrigued by Genesis's basically his rent control model for reining in the profits off of secondary market sellers, it's really just a nice principled thing to think about in Fantasyland. There's no way to explore that in the real world because every element of the market would fight against it. The only people that would be the only aspect of the market that would be in favor of it would be the consumers, and consumers are the last car on the engine of the capitalism train. So, they're not the engine. They aren't the engine. The market would like everyone to think that the consumer is the engine. The spending and from the consumer end is what drives the whole thing. It really isn't. It's at the caboose, and the fact that these kind of business practices continue to proliferate is evidence of that fact. If Sony, for instance, and let's kind of shorten the scope to just these PS5s as this singular product. If Sony was legitimately interested in cracking down on the excessive scalping and the predatory reselling, they could very easily say, you know what? Global marketplace, we don't respect what you've done regarding the distribution of our product. We will be handling it ourselves, strictly through Sony Direct, and every legitimate consumer who wants to acquire one will be able to acquire one through us through a more extensive purchase process than just simply, autofilling credit information and an address. We'll have some kind of a requirement for a profile set up first, and then contact information and blah, blah, blah. Any kind of user authentication software to prove that you're not a bot, that you are in fact a real person, and then do it that way. But the fact of the matter is that Sony, nor any company in a situation similar to this, would be interested in that, because status quo, while it may leave a number of consumers out in the cold when it comes to new product launches, the hype train just continues to drive that demand, that unwritten, unspoken X factor that really elevates products to that upper echelon of desire in the marketplace that money simply can't buy. No amount of advertising can generate, and Sony and basically every other retail distributor, they have a vested interest in maintaining that kind of psychological grip on the marketplace. So there's no way that any government institution, certainly nothing driven from the private sector, would ever even hint at something like that. It's literally that kind of practice is against the market's own self-interest, and it would never be explored. Although it is another instance of where regulation could certainly help the little guy on the end of the equation, but the little guy doesn't have much say, especially when it comes to that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm totally for everything that Genesis, everything that you said, I 100% agree with. It just would never happen, and it's because the powers that be don't want it to happen. You know what I mean? Sony doesn't care that legitimate gamers are not able to acquire a PS5, even though they've been desperately trying to through multiple sources and multiple means. They don't care. If they did, they'd find another way to make that happen. They wouldn't just like leave it up to the status quo, which, quite frankly, they've always done and they will always continue to do. It's just a little bit of PR and damage control that they're doing at this point, just to try to make people, it's like, oh, just pacify them a little bit and say, look, calm down, it'll be fine. Just be a little patient. We'll get more units out there. Yeah. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. People wanted those units yesterday, buddy. Helping me out 2 months after the fact is not going to do anything for me now. And maybe that's a tough shake for the company, but tough rocks. I'm not companies aren't victims in anything, man. All they do is just rake in insane amount of profits, and what they return back to the community in terms of well-paying, high sustainable jobs is a pittance in comparison to the profit margin. So
it's going into a different conversation for another day.
But it's
where we could.
But it's also
it's also true. Very true, but again, it's a different conversation with the scalpers and corporations. Who's worse? Vote now on our Patreon poll. Genesis. Genesis,
we gotta make one of those.
Never. Genesis, you are annoying me because you always tell me these things, but you haven't done it in the last couple weeks. Where are my rumors?
Oh. Okay. I will bring up the rumors. Just one thing to finish that conversation off for you. Microsoft has done a very poor job of giving people a way to actually buy their consoles versus Sony. That's the only thing I'll give to Sony.
Microsoft also teamed up with retailers and told them exact times. And that helps the bots, but it also helped people. Also, when they were selling theirs on some websites, there was like an authentication thing that you had to do, like on some like Target and Walmart websites that Xbox Microsoft asked for. So those things were there. So in the beginning they were doing well. Equally, both companies have done bad. No one's done worse than the other, except Sony Direct's been pretty great, but we don't really follow Microsoft enough. So great point, but what's the internet whispering to you?
All right, so I got a couple rumors here. Couple different things I'm going to go through. Some a little short than others, but I have a couple of nice ones that especially Giuseppe, I think, will want to hear some of these. So the first one I go with, we've already heard of this in the past, but now there are patents to back this up, as well as some unofficial renders and things of the sort for a PlayStation VR 2 for PlayStation 5. The PSVR 2 apparently, according to letsgodigital.org, I don't know how, I've heard of these guys before, but I haven't seen how credible they are. They have a couple different things, like they cover smartphones and other things like that as well. They are basically showing off the patent that apparently the new VR 2 is going to have haptic feedback in it, along with the camera in the front, to be able to tell where you are. Much better controllers, both with joysticks included in the controllers. No longer will you have to have like different 2 sets of controllers, as well as the controllers having the additional finger movement and stuff like that. So you can now have your fingers and everything be tracked in it. So basically what you're looking at is your finger movements, your gyroscope movements, like where you actually are, the way your head is looking and all that will be tracked and all that. As well as joysticks, finally, because people hated not having joysticks for this PSVR unless you had that navigation control.
Are those patents new? Because I feel like we've heard of these.
These are, as far as I've seen, I haven't seen these yet. They're just 2 patents of the AR and the AR glasses. So there's 2 headsets that they're showing off here. One is by Steven Osman here, head of Magic Lab software engineer. The Model 1 is the VR AR headset, and it looks like a much slimmer version of the original PSVR, much thinner, much smaller, much slimmer, and has the haptic feedback motor in the front of it. And the second one is by the same person, but it's a VR AR glasses. So this is like a very small visor type of VR headset. I'll post it up in our chat for us to see later. But this was granted on November 24th, 2020.
No, what?
It's
So
nice.
Today is November. Wait. Oh
25th.
yeah, you're right.
Yesterday.
You're right. Guys, totally forgot the date. Never mind.
Yeah,
It's okay.
it's nice. It's nice to see that there's a continued development for VR tech.
Yep.
But I will say this: that sounds like an awfully expensive unit right there. I mean, bare minimum, $1,000 price point.
I can't
$1,000
imagine.
price
No,
point.
there's no way they would
I
charge
don't think
that.
it'd be $1,000.
There's no way.
Watch.
We thought the VR one was going to be
Watch.
very expensive, and they charged people what, $399 for that?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
came out at $399. It's still $399. So I mean, you can
Watch.
get other stuff. I'll watch, man. I don't know about that.
Haptic feedback plus all that new stuff. Nah, man, that is not. There's no way they're keeping that anywhere close to that original price point.
I
We're
could
gonna
see it being more.
considerable
I just
jack.
$1,000. So I don't. That seems.
I think it'd be
Yeah,
closer
that's
to
what it
like the
sounds like.
500 or 400 price point. I don't think it'll be 1,000.
Yeah, I can't
Especially
imagine
that
it'd be
visor.
more than the console.
Especially that visor one, because now you're eliminating a huge physical encumbrance to the entire
And this one is wireless.
experience.
This one's wireless.
Right, exactly. So I mean, like that is a huge that is like the true freedom VR experience. That you're not tethered, you don't have this brick on your face. Yeah, that's some expensive tech right there. It's going to be much more expensive than you think, just because of the existing tech is at a certain price point now. That something like that is so far above and beyond where PSVR is right now. That price point is definitely going to reflect that if and when that actually ever comes to the prototype stage.
So the Oculus one, like the one that is the best selling, is $299. That one's wireless and it comes with the 2 controllers as well, I believe.
That's totally wireless. That doesn't have haptic feedback, and I don't know how big it is, like how cumbersome it is, but it is tuned. Yeah, I just looked that up as well. That's $299. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. The $1,000 seems way too much. I can't imagine it costing
it is
more
a
than
lot
the
of tech.
actual console,
It is a
unless
lot of
it's
tech. I
its
agree with you on
own
that,
console.
Giuseppe, but if you don't need a PS5 to play this and it has like PS5 inside of it somehow, then yeah, maybe $1,000 would make sense.
That's the pro version of the PS5 is VR2.
My guess is that something like that, a more dynamic VR system, is going to require a more dynamic camera setup. It's not just going to be with like a basic, one set. You know what I mean? That's what I would expect. And for VR to be more precise and more immersive, a more dynamic camera layout is going to be. So it's going to be more than just like that the actual headset hardware that you're going to get. It's going to be I'm thinking that a multiple camera system, maybe 3, maybe 4, to set up in your room is going to be required to make something like that go. But that's just me presuming a whole lot of stuff.
Doesn't that Oculus work the way with it's got a camera looking at it and it's got cameras on the device itself? And I'm pretty sure that there's been patents for the PSVR 2 that shows that there's cameras on it as well.
There should be 2 cameras on the left and right side as far as I can see the patent go, and then there's a camera in the front of it, and then there should be a camera in behind it. And the camera in front is just supposed to get depth in a shot of the PS5's camera, because you can technically still use the same HD camera with it. All that camera is doing is using the LED lights on it to be able to distinguish where you are, and that's basically it. Because the other cameras do the rest of the work.
For the regular PSVR, though.
No, this would be. I'm assuming that this would be compatible with the new VR is. Yeah.
That's something I could also see Sony being like, new camera, sorry, because that's what Sony does. That's what Sony does. Hey guys, it works, but also you need a new camera. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean they did it with the first VR. You need a different box for the HDR pass through.
Yeah,
a simple thing like that, and it's like, people got to go out and get another one. So
yeah.
But anyway, moving on to the next one that I got
We will
here.
keep an eye out. We'll talk about that, Giuseppe. So I'm curious to see if you're right about that. I don't know, but knowing the video game industry, it's certainly possible.
the numbers on Switch here. So apparently on Twitter they've been talking about um, what Nintendo's shipped out for the Switch, and according to the numbers of the rumors that they're talking about, we're looking at for the October to December quarter, we're looking at about another 10 million or more Switch units that are going to be sold in this amount of time. That would then take them up to about like almost 80 million units, which is right behind the PlayStation 4 at that point in time. They're not far off
What?
in terms of units.
Like around the same time frame, or what do you mean?
Well, no, that's in a much shorter time frame because what did it take them?
Then what do you mean right
by
by the PlayStation 4? Because that's now sold 100 and something.
Yeah, they're what 112 last time we checked, 115.
I think they've reached 115 at this point.
Okay.
Switch will probably pass it.
Which is surprising to me because I think we had talked about this a week before. There's not like besides the re-release of Mario, the 35th anniversary. I don't know what's coming on the Switch that people are going out and gangbusters to buy this for.
Kids.
Kids. It's just a good device to have, honestly. Like, especially now when you're like in a pandemic, like you want to be near your family because you don't know how much time you got with them, but you also want to play video games because you hate your family. So you go in the same room as them and you just play Switch, play Animal Crossing. Honestly, I'll probably start up my Switch tomorrow when my sister's here, so I can just play Animal Crossing while she's here. I don't want to talk to her.
All right then. Moving on. And this one, Giuseppe, is more for you. So this is not on a topic that you really like to talk about, but we'll go for it.
Oh no.
That I don't like to talk about? Okay.
I think Adam already knows where I'm going with it.
Oh no.
So there's been a leak for Resident Evil 8 at this point for this year. Two things. So first, Capcom is forecasting this game to actually be a little bit more well-received, as well as it's going to be more in-depth and a quote-unquote more fantastic. They expect this one to sell 11 million copies, which is one. Okay. Two, there is a screenshot that is leaked of this game where I believe in the trailer for one of the either the initial one or the second one that was shown off at the most recent PlayStation State of Play, where we see a werewolf-like figure in the trailer.
Here's the first one,
or it looks
at
like a
the
monster. End. Yep, somebody looks like a monster or a werewolf figure. You want to take a guess on who that might be?
On the who? Now is
who the werewolf or what the werewolf figure is? Yes.
Leon.
Right, so here's Leon, right? Is it a character that has already been established, introduced in the Resident Evil mythology at some point at a game prior to?
Yes, he is in this game.
Wesker?
No.
Not Wesker.
Nope.
Hunk?
Not at all. Although there are more rumors of Hunk that I will talk about in a second, but yeah, go ahead. No, not either.
I don't know. I give up.
Was I close with Leon?
This werewolf figure... You were close with Leon. This werewolf figure is Chris Redfield.
I wanted to say Chris. I couldn't think of the guy's name.
Apparently, in the leaked screenshot, you can see they've basically had
Wait,
this
did you
cut
just spoil the game for people?
Listen, this is the leaked screenshot that I'm seeing. This is a rumor. Capcom has not said one word on this.
Oh, you could have said potential spoilers. Wow, you just fucking ruined that. Oh, family show. I mean, you just fucking ruined that.
According to the screenshot, it shows Chris transforming into this said creature. And this again, some people have brought up that this could be Photoshopped because it could just be like a half and half render here of like they're moving the werewolf into like a shot of Chris looking somehow similar and just melding those two together.
It looks like Chris.
Yeah. When I looked at it, I was like, this looks very much like Chris. Which would explain his sudden aggression in the trailer that we've seen. Yeah, this is very odd and very weird of a turn that they're trying to go through with this. What are your thoughts if this is the case that he is
Oh
indeed
no.
now a werewolf figure apparently in this game? And to just do the hunk thing, there is apparently a spin-off called Resident Evil Apocalypse that will have to do with Hunk, which is scheduled for 2023. So
Alright,
that's where I
finally
was going with that.
made a
Right.
game about me. I'm a hunk.
So first of all, love any kind of game that's centric on Hunk, the Grim Reaper. I think he's like one of those Boba Fett type characters for the Resident Evil universe. He looks
Mm-hmm.
cool, mysterious. Nobody knows much about him, and he's lethal. Uh,
And
so
these are all
number
by
one,
Dusk Golem, by the way. This is all leaks by Dusk Golem.
Gotcha. So number one, I love that. Number two, definitely hate the Chris Redfield turning into a werewolf nonsense because that is further evidence to the fact that the people at Capcom have completely lost sight and track of whatever Resident Evil is as an IP that distinguishes it in the horror slash survival horror universe, and they are completely just giving in to the whole generic horror gentrification of its storyline and its characters because they don't like to pursue the whole you know the whole corporate free hand experimentation on products to do whatever they want to the globe in pursuit of profits and controlling the weapons market with bioweapons and blah blah blah, and taking it away from science and just throwing it down the rabbit hole of all things horror. So I'm sure at some point we'll see Frankenstein's monster, and we'll see Swamp Thing, and maybe King Kong will make an appearance. I mean, who knows? I mean, at this point, I would definitely throw all of those things as possibilities for Capcom to explore, because they've lost sight of what Resident Evil is. Like, if they want to make, and again, this is going back to my initial criticism of Resident Evil 7. If you want to make a generic horror thing, cool, do that. Call it something else. Explore a different story with different characters. Don't bite off the coattails of Resident Evil, because nothing that happens in Resident Evil 7, again, not having played it, having watched a number of Let's Plays, and it's very creepy, it's very chilling at some points, and I'm sure it's even worse and more accentuated in the VR setting. Also not Resident Evil. It's not. It's nothing in that game is Resident Evil. Just call it scary video game survival nonsense. There you go, Capcom. There's your title, and now go make 10 of those games, okay? Because none of that is Resident Evil. And what makes Resident Evil unique is its more science fictiony take on the horror, a focus on bioweapons, a focus on corporate corruption, and a focus on singular heroes that go beyond their regimented duty oriented roles, if they were even coming from either law enforcement or military, or heck, they could be just regular citizens who have basically risen to the challenge, and been able to step into more heroic roles in order to survive for themselves and for the ones that they love. That's what makes Resident Evil unique. All of this stuff that they're doing since 7 and pushing on forward, it's all generalization mode. We're going to start, consuming all horror tropes and incorporating into this thing because scary things and jump scares and nonsense. So, whatever. Don't like it at all, though. It's dumb. It's silly. Anabolic steroids, it can also easily, explain Chris's incredibly, aggressive mood swings, because for crying out loud, he punched a boulder in Resident Evil 5 and basically threw it at Wesker in Volcano. So, I mean, that so, we don't need him to transform into a werewolf to do incredible feats of strength. He's already done it as a man. Just a supremely jacked up on roids man, but still a man.
So let me just add a couple more things here, and then I'll move on to the next rumor, which also has to do with Capcom. So they're just commenting on the sales of 7 and 2 Remake. 7 and Resident Evil 2 Remake have both surpassed Resident Evil 5 and 6 to become the best-selling games in the series. So people are clearly liking the remake series, and then whatever 7 is going for as far as sales are concerned. Again, when I'm talking about sales versus the actual like user rating and stuff like that, there's two different things. So I'm just going based on sales.
Sales
People
and
keep
ratings
buying
are
it,
different. Thank you for clarifying.
Right.
I was very confused.
Yes.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying that it's not popular. Yeah, if you were to make a thing that incorporates all aspects of every genre ever, then yeah, you're gonna cast a very wide net for grabbing a lot of people's attention. I'm just saying is that doesn't make it Resident Evil anymore. It's a critique. It's a critique of what's there, and what's there is not there anymore. Sorry, it's turned into something else, and you can call it anything you like, but that doesn't change the facts that it's not that anymore. So.
Right. Same thing from the insider. Dust Golem mentions that the potential release is April 2021 to May 2021 is a potential window of when this game's going to come out. Capcom is apparently very confident in the quality of this. They're banking on the interest of the game due to the Netflix CG movie that's coming out in 2021 and the new Hollywood movie that's coming on later.
The readaptations. Oh man.
And they're banking on all this. So they're saying, hey, interest is going to be high. I think this game's going to sell really well based on that.
So that actually gives us a very good a good measuring stick to look as a comparison, because if we do look at that Netflix movie and we see it, and whatever story that they have going on there, I think it's a fair assessment to presume that the ambition of that story is going to be reflected in the story ambition of its games, as well as the film adaptations rolling down the line. You can presume that's good. They're all going to be on the same level. So if that Netflix one comes out and everyone's like, "What the heck is this?" Mm-hmm. Buckle your seatbelts, because Resident Evil is going right down the tubes. But again, hey, whatever. There's nothing wrong with trying to find, ways to expand your audience. Because it's at the end of the day, it's an entertainment product, and that's fine. But you got to understand, in pursuit of that, you're turning something that used to be unique into something that everyone is doing now. So, whatever.
Another clarification that I'd like to make, that Resident Evil Apocalypse game that I mentioned before, that is not the Hank remake, I'm sorry, or the Hank game, I'm sorry. Oh God, I don't know what's a Hank. I'm reading something else here. Resident Evil Hunk is going to be a separate game that comes out in 2024. Biohazard Apocalypse or Resident Evil Apocalypse is a different game. I'm sorry. So that was, this is going to segue to my next rumor. So there is a leaked Capcom schedule of releases that have come out. And this has actually been getting quite a bit of attention on Reddit, on NeoGAF, on all the forums that kind of discuss video game rumors and stuff like that. So let me go through the list real quick, and if you want to talk about something, just stop me and I will stop here.
Okay.
So we're looking at the release list that they have. So this is going in yearly. So this is in year order, going from the most current year to as far as 2024. So Monster Hunter Stories is a game that is apparently slated for Q1 2021. DGS 12. Oh, what the hell is DGS 12 again? DGS?
Digital Game Show.
All right, we'll keep it a Digital Game Show 12. Shield is some IP that they're working on, Q3 2021. Resident Evil Outbreak, which has been corrected as Resident Evil Revelations 3, which is Q4 2021. Regolith, that's another IP they're working on, Q4 2021. Working on a couple indies for 2022, Q1, Q2. And then Dragon's Dogma is Q2 2022 for the new gen consoles. Street Fighter 6, Q3 2022. Rockman Match, I don't know what that is. Q3 2022. Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, Rockman is Mega Man.
Okay, Mega Man. I apologize. I didn't realize what that was. Mega Man match I done. Maybe another Mega Man.
A soccer
Type of,
tournament game? I don't know.
maybe. Resident Evil 4 Remake is scheduled for Q4 2022. Onimusha, another Onimusha game for Q4 2022. Another Monster Hunter game sometime in 2022. Another Shield game 2022. Monster Hunter 6 2023. The Resident Evil Apocalypse game was also 2023. Super Street Fighter 6 2023. And then the most notable one after that is just Resident Evil Hunk for 2024, which is what they have here. And a lot of people are talking about the Dragon's Dogma. They're talking about Resident
A
Evil
lot of games.
Revelations 3. Yep,
How about
they're
the
talking
4
about the
remake?
Resident Evil... I'm sorry?
The 4 remake, that should be number
Yes,
one.
they are talking about that a lot, and they're using the same engine and building upon that engine, apparently from Resident Evil
wait.
2 and 3.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, the same engine as 4. My goodness, why would they do that?
No, they're using the same engine as that. That is very far off, so that's why it's showing 2022. Apparently, they announced it too early, or they even talked about it too early, or leaked too early. I don't know.
Well, what's the
One or
big
the other.
deal? I mean, look at
Yeah.
the MCU release schedule. I mean, that's gonna be adjusted for.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that.
I really liked how like out of those 15 games or however many you said, 10 of them were Resident Evil, and you also said a game called Regolith. I would have read that as like Goliath or something, because that's just
Goliath would have been Liath, right? Goliath.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay,
but
this is
but RE that's probably a Resident Evil game. It's gonna trick us.
no.
RE Golith.
Well,
Um,
I gotta tell you, I don't know. I mean, I understand why they're exploring or they're ambitious to do a Resident Evil 4 remake because the other remakes have obviously treated them well. They've gained a lot of goodwill and profits off of those projects. But I gotta tell you, it's gonna be real difficult to even if you're rebuilding RE4 from the ground up with a new engine, with a new ambition and new scope for that game, it's going to be really, really difficult to even match what that OG game is, even to this day, is an entertaining playthrough. I mean, again, it may not look the best, but it that's one of those that's on the short list of greatest games of all time. Certainly one of the most revolutionary games of all time. The way that it changed that survival horror format to a style that basically is the industry standard now. Everybody goes to that. So, Capcom at this point is maybe tinkering with some hot fire there if they screw things up because they will get the backlash if they screw that game up because quite honestly they came real close with the RE3 remake because there's still a lot of sour grapes over that project. So.
The thing with Capcom, and this is a side note before I move on to the next thing, I only have about 2 more rumors, and then we can wrap up after that. The Capcom has been doing very well with the fan base, especially with DMC5, with Resident Evil, and not really Street Fighter, because a lot of people are upset with them with Street Fighter right now.
Right.
But they're big names that they are known for there, like the Devil May Cry series and Resident Evil series that have earned a lot of love over the years. They're doing very well with, especially sales wise, and it's odd to see where they were, and it's very interesting to see how they were when Resident Evil 6 came out, right, and around the same time when Devil May Cry 4 came out. Those 2 games were not very well received by the fan base. Nor actually by the reviewers either as well.
Right.
And then they came out with Resident Evil 7 and Devil May Cry 5, and then redid the Resident Evil 2 and 3 games and did Devil May Cry Special Edition. And even 4 Special Edition was 100 times more well received than the original game. And now 5 has been a love letter to the series apparently, and then Resident Evil 7 has been selling quite well for them. And people like the horror direction that it's taking because they thought that after 6 it was a lot of an action type of game. Again, not everybody shares that same opinion, obviously, but that's
I don't think you'll find
the
anybody
things I've read.
I don't think you'll find anybody that's worth listening to for an extended period of time defend anything about Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 6 was a train wreck from the
Yep.
moment somebody unwrapped the plastic from the case or downloaded it to their queue. It was just
Yep.
a disaster. Plain and simple,
Absolutely.
moving forward.
What do you think about Revelations 3 though? Have you
Well,
ever
I gotta
played any
tell
of the
you,
Revelations games?
yeah, I played both Revelations 1 and 2, and I
Okay.
enjoy the Revelations game. I don't know how much I was a fan of them adding the whole, the numbers of damage popping up for the different kinds of weapons that you were
So
using.
DPS wise, I didn't even know they
Yeah.
added that.
Oh yeah, that's a thing for the Revelations games. I didn't care too much for it, but honestly, it took the best aspects of the co-op experience from 5 and translated it into a little bit more confined spaces, um, and gave you a little bit more of a divergent path because you weren't always controlling the same pair of people at various points in the story. It would swap you to a different pair and at in different places around the world. So I was into them. I would say the enemy design and variety definitely needs to see a vast increase because both of those games tended towards like very nebulous blob type creatures for most of the trash mobs that you fought before you got into like bosses.
Trash mobs.
But aside from that, I was a fan of the Revelation games.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Just want to know a couple of opinions, and I know you would be the one.
Resident Evil is an IP that's close to my heart, and it breaks my heart every time that I think about the film adaptations, and it breaks my heart when I see the story going to places that just don't seem motivated based on the established fiction. Like this business with Chris turning into a werewolf. I swear it's almost like a Luke Skywalker situation. They don't understand that that character would die before being turned into a bioweapon, let alone a werewolf. What?
People are surmising that it has something to do very similarly, like with another new virus coming out. That might be just a side effect of the virus. Like I think one of the storylines, I think it was 7. Somebody's carrying that virus, or like Leon was carrying the virus in 4, and you basically had to get when you got to the end of the game. Spoilers, a very old game. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't know the story of this game so far.
So it's the new T virus, the T Veronica thriller.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. But I don't know. Anyway, so moving on from that, Adam, this one's up for you now.
Infamous 3?
No, unfortunately.
Oh,
it has to do with The Last of Us Part 2. This rumor comes from Best Buy and a couple people online who are dissecting a couple things here. So Best Buy accidentally posted up for a brief moment the updated box art for the PlayStation 4 version of Last of Us Part 2, which now includes next-gen upgrade written on the box. Or actually written on above the box, I'm sorry. And a lot of people were like, wait a minute, Last of Us Part 2, so you're not going to remake it, put it on PlayStation 5 like you did for the original Last of Us and call it Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. They're saying that the reason why they might do this is A, for factions, B, to get more copies of Last of Us 2 out, or just for sales in general. What is your opinion on this being just a free next-gen upgrade if you bought the PS4 version, or if you buy the PS4 version later on?
Yeah, I believe it.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
That's definitely a good thing.
Do you think it would be a good idea if they tied factions to this? So let's say you have a PS4 and then you upgrade it to the next-gen version, and then you get access to factions.
Well, I feel like I've said that factions has to come out on PlayStation 4 as well as PlayStation 5. If there's 2 separate versions, weird. But as long as you can play with each other, like, cool. Like, none of this sounds bad.
Seen that.
It makes sense that it would be free because Last of Us 2 literally just came out. Like, Spider-Man, I understand, like, they're like, we had to really go back, rebuild a lot of that game. Because when I was playing the remaster of Spider-Man 2018, there's a lot of stuff that's updated. Sure, you don't need it, but at the same time, if you don't need it, then don't buy it. Like,
I've seen some
Problem
side-by-side
solved.
comparisons, and
Yeah.
everything looks a lot better.
There's
and
a
sharper
lot
and cleaner.
detailed. The lighting
Yep.
is beautiful. Sometimes it ruins
Some of the face models they corrected as well too.
Yeah, and sometimes the lighting, even though it's like better, it kind of ruins like the movie magic of some of the scenes. Like when Doc Ock is getting ready, like he's putting on his his
Arms.
thank you, his arms for the first time, and like it's a little bit brighter because there's more lights in the room, but it kind of ruins what they showed. Like when they first showed the clip of Peter Parker and Doc Ock with Peter Parker's new face, that I don't think that was the right clip to show because it's way too bright in that room. Like in Peter's face, just it looks so pale and strange. And in every other scene, the first scene you see Peter Parker in Miles Morales, you're like, okay, this looks like a face in this world, and this makes sense. But in that one clip they released, terrible.
Before you say anything else, I just had a thought that just occurred to me randomly. So, Doc Ock Spider-Man relationship. Thinking back to Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire with Alfred Molina, in that versus relationship. Think of the possibilities that could have happened if you take that story and then expanded that into a Superior Spider-Man story. Launching off of that relationship. Oh, that would have been so cool. Anyway, sorry, that was
things that could have been. You know,
could have been
real quick, we're on a topic of rumors. There's a rumor Alfred Molina is going to be in that Spider-Man live-action movie where they're bringing everybody back. That's just a rumor.
Of course,
so,
why not?
Yeah, I know.
Why not?
Whatever.
Of course.
But yeah, no, the Last of Us 2 patch, it's only good things. So I couldn't be upset.
Yeah,
if it's not true,
good.
it's Last of Us 2 is pretty enough, and apparently the load times are better, and there's also some haptic feedback stuff on PS5. So that's one of the games I'll get back to eventually.
Let's get
the Platinum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last rumor I got. So this is from the same guy who leaked God of War 2 coming out in 2021 before the actual trailer showed 2021. This comes from a podcast called Moore's Law is Dead. I've never heard of this podcast. I don't know what this is. This is where I'm seeing it from.
Okay.
I don't know. The claim that this person is making is that, again, this goes back now to the same rumors that we've heard for the last year. Silent Hills and MGS remake. So the rumor states that Kojima's involved with the Silent Hill game. The MGS remake is being made by Bluepoint and has been developed alongside Demon's Souls remake for the past 3 years. Again, he's making this statement of this is the same person who leaked God of War 2. He's pretty credible with a proven record. This is the person's podcast. Moore's Law is I've never heard of this podcast. I don't know what this is.
So, Bluepoint has said recently that they don't want to just be the people who make remakes. They want to make their own games, but also we would like to continue to make remakes. And then there was also a man who posted on Reset Era. I'm surprised you didn't cover it here. It was like the rumor is Sony's gonna buy Bluepoint by February
was that
of next
Golem
year.
Again? Who did
I don't
that,
know
or is
who
that
it
somebody
was.
else?
I think it was somebody else. I'm not sure though. But he said
I didn't cover that one. I apologize.
Before the end of February, Sony is gonna buy Bluepoint, and they're gonna announce something else.
That's really intriguing.
And the thing is, he did the rumor correctly because he was like, "Hey, if this isn't true, take this with a grain of salt. I couldn't confirm my sources, but also if it isn't true, the mods are allowed to ban me from Reset Era." So he was like, "I think it's true, but I'm not sure." And I think Bluepoint would be a good studio for them to buy. And if that rumor is true, then I think what you just said is probably true as well. I don't know if they've been working on an MGS remake for 3 years and it somehow hasn't leaked.
Yeah,
that would shock me. Yeah, because the Demon Soul one, they were like, "Hey, we're working on something," and people were like, "Demon Souls," and they were like, "No." And then for 2 years, they were like, "We're not working on that." And then they would literally tease it, and people were like, "We know you're working on it." And then the show, and it was revealed, and people were like, "Yeah, we knew. Holy crap, it's beautiful." So, I don't know.
If they make an MGS remake, I mean, it's gonna. First of all, we already know it's gonna be beautiful because of what they've done with Demon Souls. And if they're making it, I mean, I would hope they do it in the style of MGS4, MGS5 type of, gameplay where it's you can, it just looks and plays
MGS4 and
very
5
well.
are different, first of all, so that's...
I mean, in
Well,
the
in
not
terms of
the
the
not the
third
top down.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean the third
gameplay-wise,
person type.
like, 5 is way more open.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I meant a third person view instead of the top down view or something.
Honestly, I would love to see an open world version. I mean, yeah, your scope might be a little limited if you do a strict remake of MGS, but I tell you what, if they really wanted to expand on that, they could turn MGS into like an open world situation where you're helicoptering in and out of different spots, because the events that immediately precede the actual Alaska terrorist incident could be just as interesting to explore in the story as just going to that place to disarm Rex. So I don't know. The possibilities are endless, and it really boils down to how ambitious they want to be with this remake. Is it just going to be a cosmetic upgrade, or do they really want to do something? Because I would love to see them give us more content as opposed to just prettier content.
Yeah. And also that Silent Hills thing. We've heard that rumor for so long, and there's been a lot of sources on it, and it's leaked in a number of ways. At this point, it would shock me if it's not true in some way.
I know. I would agree. I think either that's, well, it seems like it's going to pop up at every single thing that happens, including like a State of Play or Game Awards or E3 or whatever.
And Game Awards are in 2 weeks, and we'll probably have our predictions the week of. I don't know if we'll do a second show the same, like right after. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not right after.
Live one during the Game Awards.
We could do a live one, but then we gotta stream it and then also watch it. And we're in Minecraft.
Yes.
There's not a way to watch it in Minecraft, so that'll be difficult. So, but
Plus also
Genesis
the
and I
lag
were
issue,
talking.
too.
Yeah, also the lag issue. Genesis and I were talking about this, like we green screen it and like post it in, but that would be like we just provide commentary over it and then like sync the videos up. That'd be some editing, but it might work. But
Are there other platforms that are going to be picking it up? Like, for instance, would there be a way to possibly like pick it up off of like Amazon and do like one of those share watch?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think. I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it would be another thing altogether if we could guarantee like whatever that we were watching was absolutely going to be in sync. You know what I mean? And not from multiple sources or multiple streams.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just a reaction afterwards wouldn't be terrible. So,
no,
but we'll definitely do predictions. Do you have any more thoughts on your rumors, or Giuseppe, you're taking us home?
Rumors are done. Whispers are done this week.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, we'll definitely have some thoughts on the Game Awards. We all saw the announcement. We'll talk about it a little bit more. We want to make sure our even though it was topical for a lot of gaming podcasts to talk about the things now, like why? Because they're just going to re-talk about them the week of the Game Awards. So
yeah,
and we had some stuff to talk about. Maybe we'll do it next week. We'll see. But Game Awards are December 10th, I think. So
December 10th. What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
Awesome.
It's always a Thursday. So I believe that's when it is. Right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think.
Is that the day Cyberpunk comes out?
That would be funny.
Hang on a minute.
Funny.
Oh God! If it's the same day as the Game Awards are going to be sponsored by Cyberpunk, and we're going to hear that a bunch.
Thursday, December 10th. Yep, that is correct. Now let's
also,
see
nobody's
Cyberpunk.
going to be watching. They're going to be playing Cyberpunk.
Now I'll be watching.
Oh man, that'd be tough. It'd be tough.
What the hell?
I believe that's the current release date of Cyberpunk.
In an ironic twist of fate.
But it's still enough time to be nominated.
December 10th, 2020. What?
There's still enough time to nominate it.
Coming out on a Thursday?
Yeah.
Since when do games come out on a Thursday?
All the PlayStation 5 games came out on Thursday, the launch of the console, And Cyberpunk was
No,
supposed to come out on a Tuesday
Yeah, I know
originally.
the console launches come out on Thursday
They
sometimes.
just
but
launch whenever they want now, man. It's a pandemic. You do whatever
I
you
thought it
want.
was Tuesday and Fridays, but okay.
Yeah, COVID, man, COVID days. Giuseppe, take
Yeah,
me home. My country road. I'm gonna call you my
Country
country road.
roads.
Take me home.
Nice. Got some ranchman's hands on that one. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you very much for tuning in to Crap the Chat with your boys Adam, Genesis, Giuseppe Jones. I hope you enjoyed episode 17. All the millions and millions of fans out there. Please do chime into our chats on future episodes. You're more than welcome to enter a dialogue. Craft the chat together.
And on our
It's not just
Patreon.
us talking to you, right? Patreon, all that fun. YouTube,
OnlyFans.
all that good stuff. Social media is great. But please,
Absolutely.
all of you out there, be good to each other in these holidays that are approaching. Be thankful. There's lots to be thankful. Believe me, things could
Don't
be
be
worse.
a scalper.
Don't be a scalper. Things could definitely be worse. So be thankful that it's not worse.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. Appreciative. Love it. And signing off, Crafting a Chat. See ya.
Bye.
Crafting a chat. Bye.
Bye. Wave goodbye.
Waving. And out.
Out.
No Desunodo.